Okay, good afternoon and welcome to today's actual Daf Kesubos Daf It, number 18. We have a great share for you this afternoon when we're talking about the conclusion of the topic of Rabbi Yeshua, where he says that Pesha Asar Pesha Hittir introduces the concept of Pesha Asar Pesha Hittir. We do believe about that. Rabbi Yeshua does agree. We believe the person who says it kind of like that. We start a new mission about shtaros, everyone's favorite topic in yeshivas. If you end up making it through the first parak, some yeshivas will go to El Narus, some of them will go to shtaros over here. Shtaros, Daf Yud Ches, supposed to be amazing. Shtaros, loan documents in yeshivas. Shtaros, loan documents. I mean, that's another sugya. I never got into shtaros so much. We'll talk about shtaros, loan documents. That exciting? I mean, all Torah is exciting. I mean, if you listen to my shirim, it's exciting. If you listen to other people's shirim, it's not so exciting. All right, let's go on. Yed Chem and Aleph, top, last word of the line. Yed Chem and Aleph. Listening, Moder Rabbi Yeshua, Omer Lechavero, Mona Levisi, Mimchal Parasav. We're trying to figure out why Rabbi Yeshua say his case about a field that belonged to the father, and he's telling the son, it belonged to your father, but now I bought it from him. Let's say a different case. He says, I say to him, it says direct, right? I borrowed $1,000 for you, $100 from you, and I paid you back, shoneman, that he's believed, meaning in the case where the person wasn't toveim, he wasn't saying you owe me money. He admitted himself as Pesha Asher there. When I answered, because then you have to say the Sefer of our Mishnah that if there's an Edom that said there was a halva, and he says I paid back, he's not believed. That's not true. Even if you loan someone money in front of two Edom, right? I can pay him back without two Edom recording the fact that I paid him back, and therefore, when I claim that I paid him back, even though I claim Shalom Be'edim, I paid him back, he's believed. I'm believed. So they can't say that can't be the case of the Mishnah. So the Gemara persists. So listening to Rabbi Yeshua, why does they have a case about a piece of land? Say about, right, $100 loan. Right? Your father had a right to be a creditor for $100. I borrowed $100 from your father. I paid him back half of it. Pras is a portion, a half. Shuneman, that he's believed. So the Gemara says, I'll leave with them on. Meaning, who is this going? According to leave with the Rabbanon, how many Meishu Aveda have you? If it's according to the Rabbanon, we'll see in a second, Pachalokas, to Eliezer and Yaakov, he says he's considered a Meishu Aveda. And even if the person is towing, if the son comes and says, you owe my father $100, and he says, you're right, I owed him $100, but I paid him back $50. According to Rabbanim, Meisha Aveda, it's like when you find a lost object and you go to someone, even if he's claiming the lost object, and I return it to him, I don't take a shvua that there's more of the Aveda. I'm doing him a favor by returning it, I don't take a shvua. Yaakov wouldn't fit into her mission either, because according to Eliezer and Yaakov, when you admit to part of it, right? Even if you're a pesha or pesha hitcher, you still have to pay half. What's the case? The Sanya, sometimes a person actually is a shvua on his own claim, and he's initiating the case that he's an ishba. He says, your father, I owed your father $100. They paid him back $50. He's nishba. I think it's shvua motive mixas. This is being nishba on your own claim because you didn't initiate it. The Chum say the 180 degrees the opposite way. Even if the son were to come and claim the money, right? You're a Meisha Aveda, you're Pater of taking a Shvuah. There's no Shvuah motive mixes over here. Eliezer and Yaakov, Leisle Meisha Aveda, they're going to hold to the Svar of Meisha Aveda, right? Just like they're Masaki, and if someone returns a lost object, doesn't have to take a Shvuah, even if the person claims you owe me double, or it belonged to me, and I was alone, and he says, no, I'm giving you back an Aveda, right? So here also is Meisha Aveda, Amarav Beton al Katan. So Rav says we're talking about where a Katan actually makes the taina, meaning the Katan, the father, had a child, right? and who's a katan, and he is making the claim against him, right? In which case, there's no Mesha Aved. Mesha Aved is when I come by myself. So I said before Mesha Aved, even when the person claims it. Mesha Aved normally means when I come myself and I say, oh, this is an Aved I found. Right? So he says, no, we're talking about a weak claim, but it's a weak claim of the son, it's a katan. So the Gemara asks, I don't know, how could you Rosa and Yaakov make a shvuah with a raisa, Mesha of Modav Mixas? The Gemara in Shvuah says that if a cheresh shoter a katan makes a taina against the own money, you don't have to pay. All right, we assume they're not intelligent enough to know what they're saying. My katan. We'll see the reason in a second, and Yonah Ben Seal will explain this reason more better. But it's a Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos is basically how to read this Gemara. So the Gemara says, "My katan gadol." So the Gemara says, "What does a katan mean? I mean, it's a gadol. Not that he's above 13 years old, and he has shtei saros. My karle katan. Why is it called a katan? God merely daviv katanu." Right, and his father knows full well about the loan, but the son maybe doesn't know so much about the loan. So therefore, just like a katan is lacking a certain amount of knowledge, a certain amount of intelligence, so too Gabi this claim, even though he's 20, 25 years old, he doesn't know fully well how much his father really is crediting from this guy. Why did the Gemara call it a Mishnah Brisa call it Tainus Atzmo? The katan is a gadol. He's making a taina. A gadol can make a claim. Where it says Tainus Atzmo, who does Atzmo, Tainus Atzmo, Tainus Acheramu. Where it says Tainus Acheramu does Atzmo. No, well, it doesn't mean to say that. It doesn't mean to say that it's called Tainus Acherim. It's Tainus Acherim. The Bryce meant to say that it's how das Atzmo. He's admitting. He admits. Where it says Kulu Tainasa Tainus Acheramu does Atzmo. Every case of a taina, when a person, the father or anyone who loans money to someone, that's his taina, taina d'acherim, and you're the one who's moda. So what are you trying to say over here? So the Gemara relents, and the Gemara goes back to what does it go back to? So we're going to explain the Gemara according to Rashi, and in with Ben Sion, I'm going to bring in Shitas Tosfos and explain the source of Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos. It happens to be a famous Machlokes in the Rishonim. I think I didn't actually read this Tosfos over here, but I think it's exactly Machlokes in Tosfos about the svara of Modav Mixas, why a person is afraid to deny everything, but will partially admit to something, and that's why I take a shvuah. We'll discuss the reason for that in Yonah Ben Sion. So El Hacha the Rabba Kamifli. Machlokes Rezer and Yaakov and Rabbanan is a different machlok. It's about Rabba. The Amar Rabba. Rabba gives the reason that there's only 3 shvuos that are doraisa. Right? We've mentioned other times that a chazaka is an assumption that you're lying or that you owe someone something and you're denying it. In 3 instances, the Torah is mechayev yeshua eid echad. Right? If one aid claims that you owe someone money, you have to take a shvuah as an assumption, not a raya, but it's a chazaka. Let's say 75% assumption that you owe them the money. I think a shvuah to disprove that. Go to a mixas, right, where someone is towing that you owe them $100 and you admit to part of it. So we're going to see this is a Rabbah says over here, that because there's an assumption that you're probably guilty over here, you have to disprove that. And then there's also shvuah hashomrim, or we'll get to in Bava Metzia, and also a shvuah daraisa. So the Gemara says, why does the Torah say take a shvuah? There's an assumption that someone lends you money, you're not going to deny it into his face, right? Either out of gratitude to the guy, you're embarrassed. Really, you wanted to, right? You wanted to get away scotch-free and not pay him anything. The reason you're not going to deny everything is because he's not going to reject the person who lent him the money. Really, technically, because it's he really probably wants to admit everything. He's trying to delay. He wants to pay the guy back. Doesn't have the money right now, so I'll say I'll pay half now. Half of the money I have in my bank account. The other half I'll try to get somehow, and hopefully in a couple months I'll be able to pay him back. Rahman Amar Rami Shvu Aleh Kechi Delogde Bekule. The Torah says there's obviously an assumption the guy is denying it. Really, should have owed the full amount. Make him take a shvuah to prove that he only owes half and not the whole thing. Religion Yaakov holds this chazaka Ein Ameis Panav Mei Balchovo applies not just to him but also to his son Ein Ameis. Hilchak Lav Meisha Aveda Heavy, and therefore Religion Yaakov says it's not considered a Meisha Aveda where he doesn't take a shvuah. There is a chash that he's lying to the son, right? And there's an assumption that perhaps he owes money to the son when he's moed in mixas. Rabbanan Savri Bohu Deino Meis of no Meis. Rabbanan say no, only to the father. To the father, you're not going to deny everything. For the son, you'll deny everything. When the lo hayes meishiv aveda heavy, and the fact that he gave part of it back, so therefore it's like a gift he's giving him back. He's returning them an aveda, so therefore there's no chiyuv shvuah. That's the explanation. The explanation according to Rashi is that we're talking about, even though normally we say Ein Shpon al Tainas Katan, and here we're talking about the Gemara relents. We are talking about Tainas Katan over here, but there is welcome to say that if the father gave you the loan, so the Katan is Bab and Makom Aviv, he's coming in the place of his father, so therefore there could actually be a Shvuah on Tainas Katan. Tosfos rejects this and says no. Even the Maskan in the Gemara we're talking about a Gadol, calls him a Katan, because he doesn't know about the matters of his father like a gadol. So I'll have to explain Lachos Rashi and Tosfos Ben Sion coming up in the next year. Let's go to the next Mishnah. Who's right, when you come to collect with a star, you have a star, you're collecting money from a person. So you have to validate, you bring him to court and you present the star, right? You have to validate the star. The Rabbanan, they're Masakin, Kiyum Shtaros, according to the most opinions, they're Rabbanan. Rabbanan said you have to validate the star, the signatures in the loan. Either the Eidim themselves come and validate them, or another pair of Eidim say these are the actual signatures of these people, or you have proof from a third document, second document, where it's the same signatures as the Eidim and the star. So the first way is Eidim Shamuk Sabi Yadenu, who's the Eidim themselves say this is our signatures. Aval Anusam Hayinu, Ktanam Hayinu, Psuli Eidos Hayinu. They give three three claims that why it shouldn't be a legal document. They say when we signed they were Ktanim, and Ktanim are not good for Eidos. Or Psuli Eidos Hayinu. Or Rashi explains they were Krovim at that point. We related to him, and Krovim are apostle Eidos when they signed on the star. Or they say Anusim Hayinu. We'll see in the Gemara what that means over here. We were forced to sign it. We didn't sign it against our will. Harei and Amonim, they're believed, again, because of Pesha Asar, Pesha Hitia, right? They didn't have to, they opened up their mouths, they tied it, this is our Eidos, but it's possible for different reasons, so they are believed to apostle the star. If there's other Eidim, that it is their signatures, or there's proof from another star, these are their signatures, so therefore there's no longer Pesha Asar, Pesha Hitter, and therefore they're not believed. So we're only talking about when they pass the star and they say Anusam Hayinu Machbas Mamon, meaning we were forced by money. We'll see what that means. They threatened to kill us unless we sign the stars. People threaten, if you don't sign the star, you're going to kill us. These people are believed. I mean, even though normally Anusim, the Gemara learns that there's going when it says that if the Seifa of the Mishnah, right? If there's proof, other proof besides them, that it's their signatures, so if they say we're Anus Malcolm and Zafar, we're forced to sign, they're still believed even if there's no Pesha Asar Pesha Hitter. I'm like Rava, Kol Kamine. How could they do this? Kemet Shahigid, Shuin Chozer Magid. Gemara has in multiple places the Svara, once you testify in court, you can't go and change what you said. So, maybe that's only talking about where they gave their edus verbally. Here we're talking about a star, right? Once you sign a star, that's alright. That's already like you testified in Beis Din. This is a famous line in the Gemara. It's like you testified in Beis Din already. So therefore, you can't go and change it over there, right? Once you sign in the star, then it come back later and say, oh, it was our edus, but we were ketanim when we signed. You're changing your edus. Originally, your edus was a good edus. You were signing the star. You were a good edim, and then later on, you came and you changed your edus. Ketanim hayinu. It's possible you can't change it. El Kitmar Reisha Itmar. So the Gemara says, no, Rami Racham was talking about the Reisha of our Mishnah. Right? That they are believed if they say Anusim Hayinu. Amar Racham, if it's a Pesha, Aster Pesha. Amar Anusim Hayinu Machmas the Fashos. It's only if they were forced because people threatened to kill them. If they say that, yes, it is our signature, but we were forced to sign on bribery, right? They bribed us to sign to falsify a star, right? People paid us, a third party paid us money. Ain't that money? They're not believing my time. Ain't that amazing Russia? We don't believe people when they claim to have done an Avera, right? When a person claims to do an Avera, there's no Ne'emanus. The Torah doesn't give you Ne'emanus for that. The reason in that is the discussion, some Achak's Rashi and Tosos and Yevamos and Daf It, but is it because that you don't have a koach? A person normally in Eid is believed, but is it because he's Karav Eid Asma, or is it because, right, you're a relative of yourself and Krovan Apostle the Eidus, or you just don't have a Ne'emanus Mechayev yourself, right? To make yourself Chayev a Knas, right? And a person could be Mechayev himself a Knas, but he can't do certain things to believe that he's a Rasha. Say he did not bear. We don't believe a person in court. Not that we believe him technically. He might be telling the truth. It's just we don't stamp an approval and say we give you the Ne'emanah. We don't accept that Eidus in court. It's not. The question is it not believable? We consider the guy is lying, or he just doesn't have Ne'emanus. A person's not Mechayev himself a Knas. A person can't be Mechayev himself. That's the idea. A person can't be Mechayev himself in court. He can't be Mechayev himself a Knas in court. He can't make himself a Rasha in court. Tana Rabbana. The Brayz says, "Ein Ne'emanah l'posel divrei Meir." This is a machlokes about our Mishnah, right? Rameir, in fact, argues on our Mishnah and says they're not Ne'emanah l'posel. Chachamim say like our Mishnah, they are Ne'emanah. Bishlama l'Rabbanan kitamayu. Shepesh yasru pesh hitya. The reason is they introduced the fact they were Eidim, and then they postled it. Other than Meir, my time Bishlam psuli Eidus ma'alva gufim mikaramedik dayikum mechsa. The reason Rameir doesn't believe in the Mishnah, doesn't believe these claims of these Eidim, right? They say psuli Eidus. Right, the Malva, when he's writing out a loan document, he's going to make sure that it was done with proper Eidim, with all the proper, he wants to write the shtar in the most exact, precise way in order that you shall collect with it. Obviously, he's not going to put psuli Eidus there, so I don't believe that could be psuli Eidus. Tanim Nami, you can Shimon Lakish, Aaron Shimon Lakish, top of Yud Teram and Aleph, Chazak and Eidim Chosman al Shtar, Lam Kinatze Begadol. Right, there's an assumption that Eidim don't sign a shtar unless the shtar was made by an adult, and just like we assume that the shtar was made by an adult, we assume also the Eidim, right? And Eidim, people are not going to be Eidim unless they're actually Gedolim, not Ketanim. Alanus in my time. Why are they believed to say they were Anos? Amar Chris Aksara and Meir Eidim Shamru Lehem Chismu Shtar Ba'al Tahar Yargru Al Yesmu Sheker. Right, Chista holds not this is the halacha, right? Because obviously the halacha is. No, that's not so partial. Eidim that are threatened, they say either you lie over here, and if you lie and you falsify a shtar, you sign a shtar that's false, right? Then you'll be saved from death, and if you don't sign, then you'll be killed. What did they do? They went ahead and they did an avera over here, right? They did an avera by. Right, they should have given up their lives. That's what it seems like Gemara is saying. They should have given up their lives. The Rishonim asked the question, what do you mean they should have given up their lives? You only have to give up your life on the Gimel Chamuros, on Gilei Arayah, Shvichas Damim, and Avodah Zarah. This is not one of the three. Other Rishonim answer this talking about Dinei Mamonis is actually just as Chamra as the Gimel Chamuros. There's other Gemaras that mashma that even for Geneva you have to give up your life. For Dinei Mamonis you have to give up your life. Simple explanation over here. It's true you don't have to give up your life over here, but they feel in their heart that it's worth. Even they don't know not everyone knows the halacha. They feel that what the right thing to do is to give up their lives. So therefore, when they say anusim, they're not believed because it's like they're being mesim asma Russia. They're saying bad things about this. They're saying not only mechayiv, so they're saying bad things. They did the wrong thing. They're not veira over here. So therefore, we're not going to believe them. That's the conclusion of today's shir. I hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow, the next year. Just Daf It, you test, and stay tuned for Ian Ben Sion. We'll be discussing Machlokas, Rashi, and Tosfos on understanding the Gemara on Daf Yud and Aleph about a katan. That Rabbah says the reason a motive mixes Hatayna Yeshava, right, that you have to take a shvua. What is exactly the svara behind that, and use that to explain Machlokas, Rashi, and Tosfos, and ultimately explain Machlokas in two shitas in Tosfos about whether Shomer Chinam, right, is mixed motive mixed Hatayna apply by Shomer Chinam or not. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. Coming up next.